Welcome to the Nagual Zone. I'm Anaam. This video is really a part 2 of my last video, which was titled Good Intentions versus Well-Being. Go ahead and check out that video first. Well-being is an act of letting go, trusting in life, and trusting that life is taking care of everyone else as much as it's taking care of you. Now, well-being, being concerned with your own well-being and being concerned with the well-being of others automatically implies permission, giving permission to yourself and giving permission to others so that they can be responsible for their well-being, and we trust that life knows what it's doing with them. And we can be responsible for our well-being, and we trust that life knows what it's doing with us. You see how it really cuts self-importance? Our self-important, entitled victim mind just cannot wrap its head around that one. Trust is an act of faith. You can't calculate and what's going to happen. You're just going to have trust. That's it. The unknown. The hated, absolutely loathed reality for the victim mind. Permission really to do what? What does trusting someone else for their well-being, trusting yourself for your well-being, what does that really mean? I'll tell you, I'll break this down for you. It really means one thing. And this is where it separates good intentions from well-being. This is the crucial, it hinges on this one point. And that is giving permission for others to craft their own limitations. I'll repeat that again. Well-being is giving others, being able to give others permission to craft their own limitations. I'll repeat that one more time because it's bending your mind a little bit, isn't it? Well-being is all about being able to give permission to others to craft their own limitations. Stop interfering in others' life flow. It's none of your business. So why take it on? You want to run everyone else's business? Because I know better than you. You should be doing that. You should be meditating. You should. What, did you get paid for that? No, you don't. You just waste your time and your energy and you feel depleted afterwards, don't you? How about this? Next time, remember this. When these conversations happen, vax, pro-vax, anti-vax, and whatever the nonsensical, Justin Perry, one of the guys I truly respect and love, he's got a channel called You Are Creators, go check it out, this is a great guy. He said something recently in his live stream which I loved. He said, this matrix of nonsense. So when you are next time engaging in this matrix of nonsense, if you can just remember, my task is to give permission right now for the other to craft their own limitations. When we are born with many directions we could go into in our life. We could take one of many paths. Okay? As the child grows and goes through life, what is it really doing? What is that being really doing? An infinite being is thrust in a limited world of limitations. You got a body, right? Your awareness is severely limited to your 5 senses initially. Then there's ways to expand that awareness. You have to work your ass off for that one, right? So you're thrust into a world of limitations as an incarnation, or you could call it an avatar, right? And then on top of that, you find yourself in a world of the matrix of nonsense on top of reality itself, nature itself, which is built on limitations, right? So you've got two layers to deal with, two layers of limitations to deal with. One is the natural organic flow of things, your incarnate, carnal is to be flesh, in the flesh. That's natural, it's supposed to happen like that. But the predator comes along and weaves like a spider around you, like a spider around its victims, its cocoon. And if you're lucky, one day you find that your eyes open up and you see you're in a cocoon of the spider, right? It's the cocoon of the matrix of nonsense, the machine mind. So all our life, from infinity, from an infinite potential, we are busy crafting limitations. Think about it. We are always busy crafting limitations. I'll go join that religion. That's a limitation. If that is a mental limitation, if there ever was one, religions. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely golden cages for the mind. Just, you can feel so great in those ghettos, ghettos of false comfort. You can have science. I'm a scientist. I'm a double PhD. I know all about reality. I know it all. Science has figured it out. And it's, again, the matrix of nonsense. So you can have science. That's a little cubbyhole you craft your limitations with. Pharmaceutical, it's not medicine really. There's nothing medicinal about it. It's pharmaceutical, it's business. That's a whole matrix of nonsense that you can craft around you. But you see how it works? The 9-to-5 job, the wife and 2 kids. It won't be, it's that script, copy-paste script. When you go see around you, when you see the average man's world, you've got to let people have permission. From it, it's an inner act. It's like an inner decision you make. You know what? My mom's completely allowed to craft her own mental, emotional, physical limitations. That is her prerogative. That is her right, natural right to do with her life as she pleases. You think you may know better, just keep it to yourself. If they ask you advice, and usually even that's a trick question because they don't really want advice, they want you to just say yes to whatever they're saying. What do you think? Be very wary of that one. What do you think? First, really clarify, do they actually want your advice or are they just wanting you to agree with them? Because if you actually give your advice, they'll get angry and blame you. So discern what is actually required of you. In other words, give yourself full permission. You are allowed to craft your own limitations. Your family is allowed to craft their own limitations. It's their prerogative. You are not to interfere. Why? What do you get out of it? Tell me, what would you get out of it? Energetically, what do you get out of it? You end up spending energy that is not going to return to you, at least. It's gone to them, right? Better if you learn to circulate that energy within yourself, to evolve yourself instead. Learn to parents with your children. Now, obviously, if it's a baby or little children, it's different. They need to be learning things from you. But as the child becomes a teenager, especially an adult, you've got to allow them to craft their own limitations. They're here for that. the limitations are going to determine what sort of life they want to lead. And it's all chosen. No matter what you may think, they are choosing it at some level. Let others be the sculptors of their own life. It's got nothing to do with you. You will save so much hassle this way. So much, like, frustration and like, you'll save so much of that. You know the strange thing? I'll tell you a very strange thing. And I have seen life up close. I've knocked on doors and preached Jesus, and I've done it all. I've done it all in my life. I've sold encyclopedias knocking on doors in the Middle East in the height of summer. You have no idea how unbearably hot that is and hard work. You remember encyclopedias? Those thick damn books that weighed a ton. You sling it on your back and you go knocking on doors. I've had chats with homeless people, sit with them, break bread, blah, blah, blah. I've seen life up close. You know what I've noticed? I have noticed that people are always wanting permission. They don't want interference. They only want permission. And what is permission? Just leave me alone. If I want something from you, I'll ask. Just stop interfering. Stop burdening me. Right? There was a hit song in the 90s called It's My Life by Dr. Alban, I think. You might remember it. I don't know if the Americans remember it, but it was stop bugging me, stop Lennon, stop it's my life. You remember that one? It's my life, it's my life, something like that. It's a great tune. It really speaks on behalf of a lot of people. So if you're a parent, let your teenager sons and daughters craft their own limitations. They'll thank you for it. Relax. Life has got everyone. No one's getting left behind. Obviously, this is a general approach. There are exceptions. Use your discernment, obviously. Right? But as a general rule, take your hands off the steering wheel of others' cars. Now here's the other thing you do. That's for the external. That's for the external. For you yourself, the internal, you do exactly the opposite. You do exactly the opposite. Get busy sculpting yourself out of your limitations. Get busy growing out of your limitations. Sculpting your potential. Stop sculpting your limitations into a lovely piece of art form and then be very proud of it. It's called personal history in Toltec terms. It's a work of fiction which doesn't exist because the past does not exist. Right? Start sculpting your potential. Where will this moment lead me next? Where do I want to go next? Am I really clear about that? What will give me the most power in life? In other words, what will make me most empowered? Which direction should I go in? In here in my heart, which means mind, emotions, and physically, that will make me feel empowered. For that, you have to let go of the limitations, right? You have to start thinking bigger than you ever have, or at least a little bit bigger than you ever have. And work, step by step, work towards realizing more and more of your potential. At the same time, giving full permission to the average man's world to craft their own limitations. Do you understand how this works? Can you see what a holistic approach this is? At the very least, can you see how it'll save you a lot of headache? Right? Now, obviously, you don't say that if your teenage son or daughter has bad habits, they're getting into drugs or like really harmful things, or even something like where they need discipline, which the room is always really messy. That little habit, you may not realize, will affect that person's entire life. It virtually guarantees unhappy relationships. Just that one little thing. Right? There you can't say, oh, I will give them permission to craft their own limitations. And understand this concept. It will save you a lot of wasted time, wasted energy, and it'll keep you working on yourself. I teach this. There are practical steps to this, and my apprentices learn all the practical steps. So bear that in mind. Chew over this concept. Practice this with others. It's a great practicing tool. Let me know what you think of this approach. Walk in freedom. I will see you next week. Bye for now.